This video is meant for teachers to help them with the process of entering and submitting their student growth goals and student learning objectives in the eduphoria Strive platform. So once you've logged into eduphoria, you're going to access the Strive application, and you'll see that it comes up as default to your evaluations tab. This evaluation tab has your entire evaluation process for the year. You can see here the individual sections are broken up as goal setting, student learning objective, walkthroughs, observation, summative evaluation, intervention, and other documentation is provided. Now you'll notice that most of these sections do not have any type of icon here to the side where you can actually go in and add the documents yourself. These are documents that are added by your appraiser that you simply can come to this area to view when they are completed. So as your appraiser is submitting walkthroughs in the classroom, you can come here in your eduphoria Strive platform and view their feedback from those walkthroughs here. They'll also add in your pre-conference, your observation for the formal observation, and post-conference forms here as well that you can come in and view once you've completed your formal observation process. But up top, you'll notice that in the goal setting and student learning objective, there's a couple places where you can actually begin the process and add those forms in for yourself. So right now in this section, we're focusing on the student learning objective. If you have not added anything in here, what you'll want to do is click this plus icon. You'll want to create an evaluation, and really what you're doing is just creating a blank form. And you're going to see that this form looks very similar to something you've probably seen in your initial training for the student learning objectives. This form has 4 specific steps. Step 1 is the focus of your SLO. Step 2 is the initial student skill profile. Step 3 is the targeted student skill profile. And step 4 is identification on how you will lead your students towards growth to meet the targeted skill profile information. So if you remember in your manuals during the training, you were provided a form that looked like this, the Student Learning Objectives form presented by TEA. This is the exact same form that I just showed you in eduphoria. It just looks slightly different, of course, in the way it's built in eduphoria. But again, all of the sections are there and the same. So on September 14th, the first part that is due for the student learning objective process is called a student growth goal. The student growth goal itself really just aligns to step 1. What is the focus of the SLO statement? So once you have completed these 4 sections, and again, all you're doing is identifying a targeted content area. You're identifying a specific skill that you will be focusing on over the course of the year to target your instruction and align your instruction to meeting the skill. You're going to talk about what led you and your grade level team or content area team to choosing this specific skill statement. And then you're going to align what standards align to that specific skill focus as well. This step 1 is then entered for a student growth goal. Come up to the top, and I'm going to go to my goals tab. But right now on the student growth goal, what we're going to do is click add student growth goal. And what you see again is very closely aligned to your step 1 in the SLO form. What is your student growth goal? This is your focus statement. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up a sample SLO provided by TEA. You can see here that they identified math as the content area of focus for 3rd grade math, or 2nd grade math, I apologize. And here is their focus statement. They're looking at addition and subtraction problems up to 1,000. That focus statement is simply placed into the goal. Step 2 is just your success criteria on how will you determine if you have met that goal or that skill that you're focusing on for the year. What will success look like? So this will kind of align to what your targeted skill profile will look like. Once you've identified a success criteria as a team and entered that here, next you're going to choose those standards that align, and again, tying directly back to the form, that's section D of step 1. So you would select your grade level and your subject area. Now remember, if you're a self-contained teacher, you should only be creating one student learning objective, one specific skill. So you should not be creating a student learning objective for all content areas. This should be one SLO for your entire year, one content area. And then if you're a secondary, remember you're only working with one student group. You're not working to identify growth for all students, but you're selecting one specific class period that's representative of your entire group. You would go in and choose those standards that align. It could be one or two or three, but again, you're not trying to overwhelm yourself with standards. This helps the eduphoria platform align your instruction, and it helps to track and build an overall view of when these standards are taught based on the forethought lesson planning application. So as you select those standards, then you can add in action steps, actions and strategies that we're using over the course of the year to meet the targeted skill profile. You can add actions by hitting add action step. So as your team, if you've discussed how you're going to target the instructional practice, you can add those steps here. You can add target dates that will help you track that student growth goal over the course of the year. And you can add as many or few action steps as you choose or as your team chooses. You can also make edits to this document anytime as well. Once you have your information in, you're going to hit save. It brings up your final editing screen. And once you're happy with all the information provided here, you can change your target completion date. If this is the full year goal, you'll want to look at May. You can see it keeps up with the number of days to completion. Once you're happy with the information here and you've gone over this with your team, you can submit this for approval, and now the goal goes to your appraiser for their approval. So what you'll see now under the Goals tab is that that goal has been submitted. The icon when submitted is in orange. You can see here under status it says submitted. Once the goal has been approved by your appraiser, what you'll end up seeing is it turns to a blue icon and the status shows approved. So this is the only portion of the student learning objective that is due on September the 14th is this student growth goal built in eduphoria. The next component that's due on September the 28th is the initial student skill profile. So this is where you take your skilled focus statement and you go through and you begin to identify a rubric for identifying what the typical student comes in with based on that skill. So your veteran teachers here may have to help our new teachers in providing them what the typical level of performance is. Think about your vertical alignment components here, so you can go in through Lead Forward, you can go in through the TEKS resource system and look for any vertical alignment documents that may help you identify the student skills that they should have when they come into your specific grade level and content area towards that skill. But again, what you're looking at typical is what the average student should be able to do, and then you place 2 levels above and 2 levels below. So this initial student skill profile is what is due on September the 28th. And then what you'll begin to do as the start of this year carries on is during your observations of your students or through specific assessments that align to that skill focus, you begin to build evidence of where your students land on this initial student skill profile. And you'll simply put a number of students that land at each level. Again, this same form looks slightly different in eduphoria, but the same exact information is present. So here we talked about well above typical, number of students that met that level. Well, or above typical, number of students at that level, typical, number of students. So again, it's just broken down, but it's again the exact same information, descriptor and number of students. Once that information is entered, that's the initial skill profile. You can submit that to your appraiser for them to view, and then you'll be coming back into this document as you go in to generate then your targeted skill profile later in the year. And you can always come back in and edit this at any time. Remember, each time you make an edit, you have to resubmit to your appraiser for them to view and approve. So you want to make sure that those edits get resubmitted so they can mark that for you.